Tonight on Unsolved Phenomena. It was a typical Thursday afternoon. Retired couple Jack and Ruby Hammett had just driven to the Pine Tar Library in Irving, North Dakota. After returning a few books, their ordinary world was turned upside down. The couple was struck, frozen on the library steps in utter shock at the swirling lights in the sky.
I don't know, like it was light, but it was somehow not light. Like it was solid, and it was like it wanted to, like it was trying to attach itself to me.
Jack stands by his wife's account.
Brightest damn thing I ever saw. Came down from above and circled right around us real fast like this. It looked like it was growing. And I don't mean like spreading, I mean growing like a person or a plant grows. I never saw nothing like it before, I know that.
Police records indicate an Irving resident called to report strange lights in the sky at 1:43. The same time the Hammets were frozen on the library steps. Deputy Jim Hawkins took the call.
Her voice, I'll never forget how she was trembling on the phone. She was so terrified. I wanted to do anything I could for her, but I could hardly make out what she was saying. I thought someone was in her home, maybe threatening her, but she just kept repeating, "The light. The light." Then the phone started cutting in and out, and just all I could hear was that humming sound. Low. A very low hum.
Meanwhile, Joyce Richards, inside the library, watched the Hammets lift off the ground, defying all reasonable explanation.
They just started lifting, floating midair.
Deputy Hawkins recalls what happened next.
I tried to keep her on the line, but eventually the humming, that sound, it took over. It started swarming, not just the phone, but the station. I could feel it like it was crawling around across the precinct floor. It just got louder and louder. Shh.
What? What's wrong, Jim?
Do you hear that?
I don't know. Maybe?
Listen. Shh. Listen, it's coming. We have to go. It's coming.
Well, what's coming?
God, what is this nonsense? Oh, God, no. Hey. Off. Yeah. When am I gonna fix this stupid old radio? What was that, the Bill Mullane show? Isn't Bill Mullane dead? It's October. There is no episode 22 of the Bill Mullane show. Welcome to episode 2 of Brothers Macabre. We all have that coworker or neighbor, friend of a friend, someone we know who we just can't seem to get along with. For Jerome, the star of our first tale tonight, that man is a coworker who just rubs him the wrong way. Having had enough and having a sick sense of humor, Jerome pulls a prank that might have consequences he's not prepared for. In this tale, written and performed by yours truly, we learn that while all practical jokes are intended to be funny,
Sometimes they're, well, not funny, ha ha. I know this is going to sound like a cop-out. You're probably going to think I'm insane at the end of this, too, so I don't really care. The truth is, it all started as a joke, okay? It was a joke. Besides, I don't even know how he would know. How does he know? There's no way that he can know. Something about the way he's looking at me right now, as we are the last two left in the parking garage, tells me maybe he does. I'm sorry, let me back up. Aaron and I have never quite gotten along, although he loves to pretend that we're just great pals. Every time he sees me in the office, I state to myself, I was an introverted child, and I'm an introverted coworker, okay? I stay to myself. It's not a problem with people. I'm not self-conscious. I just like being alone. So working in an office is not the greatest environment for me, but I fit in. I try. But everyone knows that I like to be left alone. But Aaron could never just leave me alone. Always, hey, buddy. How you doing, buddy? Hey, you coming out, buddy? Last Tuesday, I was not having a particularly good morning. And here he comes.
Hey, you gonna be at the potluck tonight, buddy?
I wanted to grab him by his throat and stuff his face right in the copy machine. I'm not a violent person. He knows damn well I don't want to go to the potluck, and now he has to invite me? Company potluck? Do I look like someone who wants to go to the company potluck? He knows I am not. What is this? I couldn't. All I could think is, what does he want to do? What does he want me there for? What? You want to give me the equivalent of a wedgie in front of the class? Oh, there goes Jerome. I had enough. I decided to have a little fun. So I arrive at the potluck dinner. Nobody is paying attention to me. Aaron, my big good buddy, who invited me, ignores me. He's hanging out with the cool kids. I went to the bathroom. I slipped into a stall. I brought with me some gauze and a small knife. Yes, I did plan this out a little bit. I took out my pocket knife, not very sharp, unfortunately, but I grinned and bared it, and I dug the blade into the side of my belly and removed a small chunk of flesh. I had to quickly cover it up with the gauze. I did a perfect job. I spilled a little bit of blood on my pants. It wasn't much, so not enough to tell. You couldn't tell. I was able to dab it away, and I put it on the gauze, and I caught the bleeding, and I put it together, and then I had a nice 1 inch long, about 1/4 inch thick chunk of flesh, and I put it in my pocket. I wrapped it up in some paper towels first. I want to make sure that the meat and skin didn't seep through the fabric on my trousers, and I put it in my pocket and washed my hands, and I casually walked out back into the dinner and went to the salad bar, and I found the crab salad, and I got my friend Aaron a plate. He was very appreciative, and I watched him swallow that flesh whole.
Oh, he swallowed a little piece of me. It's a joke, people, okay? How could he know? I mean, it mixed right in. I'm sure he felt this different texture, I'm sure, but he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. And I went home. How? That's it? I checked myself when I got home, too. There was no blood anywhere. There was no way for him to find out what I did. There was no way for him to see. There's no cameras in the bathroom. But the next morning, I arrived to the office, and there's Aaron in my cubicle. He's never on our floor first thing in the morning, let alone in my cubicle. And he just stood there. No, hey, buddy. Nothing. Not a word. I tried to start a conversation with him.
Hey, man. What's going on? Do you need anything, or did you have fun at the dinner, man? That was good. Right?
He just slid away from me, and I think I noticed his eyes. There was almost a purplish red sort of hue to where the whites. And he doesn't smoke pot or anything. It wasn't anything like that. He wasn't drunk. It was almost like he couldn't see me. Of course, it crossed my mind that maybe he knew. I went to the bathroom. I checked my wound, and it's still dark, and it's still painful to the touch, but it was covered up. It wasn't bleeding. No oozing or anything dripping. No drainage. No pus. Nothing that would stick out. He couldn't. There's no way he could tell anything was wrong. I went back to my computer, sat down, and at lunchtime, I could see him on the other side of the break room. He sat down with his tray, his eyes darker than that morning, locked on me, never flinching, never moving. I reached to Susan beside me, who I never talked to, but I asked her,
Hey, Sue, does something look a little off to you about Aaron, or is it just me?
I don't see anything. What's wrong with him?
Nothing, I guess.
He's staring directly at me, unflinching. He looks like he crawled out of the grave, and she says, "No, nothing's wrong. Is it just me? Am I the only one who could see him like that?" Well, that was enough to get me moving, and knowing that I needed to leave work a little earlier today. I packed my stuff up as fast as I could, and wouldn't you know it, computer needs to run an update. I have to wait for it to complete before I can shut it down and leave. I ended up stuck there. An extra 20 minutes longer than a normal day. Well, okay, maybe it'll work in reverse. I thought I'll leave later than anyone else, and then I'll avoid him that way. I was wrong. I'm in the parking garage, and he is the only other vehicle here. He's sitting in it. He is staring at me. I can see his eyes have gotten even darker, almost crimson, and they are peering at me over his steering wheel. I'm afraid to drive home. It was a joke, okay? Maybe it wasn't that funny, but I don't deserve to be punished for it. He's the one who he deserves to be punished, not me. What's he doing? Why is he getting out of his car? Why is he getting out of his car? What's he... Oh my... Why is he walking this way? His eyes are definitely darker. His skin, it's yellow.
Hey, Aaron. What's up, buddy?
Our next character also struggles at work. But for Alex Zimmer, it's a whole different set of problems. Having failed his parents' expectations of becoming a lawyer, Alex set out to chase his dreams of being a romance writer. But as he quickly learns and can surely warn you, it is all well and good to chase your dreams of being a writer, so long as you never settle for the job title of the accident writer. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody grows up dreaming about being what I am. But by that I mean nobody grows up dreaming about doing what it is that I do. This naturally raises the question, what do I do? I'm in marketing, sort of. Technically, I guess I'm a writer. And you might be thinking now, oh, but Alex, I always wanted to be a writer. Sure, I bet you did. A writer. Okay. And maybe you have the freedom to do with your life as you wish. I was not so fortunate. I was blessed with overbearing parents hovering over me, forcing me to be a lawyer just like them. Oh, the disgrace, the shame I would bring upon the family if I wasn't to follow in their glorious footsteps. So I went to law school, and I failed, of course. I was not cut out for that. My dream was to write, to bring you stories. I was always drawn to the action romance idea. Always living in a fantasy land, my mother said. Upon my removal from law school, I took it upon myself to take a nice little online course in creative writing. I graduated a few years later and found me a little job writing articles. I have a way with words, and my superiors noticed my God-given intellect, if you will, and I excelled at my job, and then they found out that I have lawyers in my family. I suppose I spoke about it a little bit and mentioned my experience in law school, despite the unceremonious results. And I suppose they decided, hey, why not have Alex work with Schmiegel and Vaughn? Oh, Schmiegel and Vaughn LLC. My new home. Right where I belong, Mom. Right where I'm supposed to be, Pop. Aren't you proud? I went to work straight away. The money was better. Went from $5 a blog to $8. And they have me as their accident writer. This is a personal injury law firm, and what I'm doing is essentially online ambulance chasing. I scour the internet in their local area for unfortunate tragedies that have recently occurred. They must be recent. Oh, the blood must be warm.
In fact, I bet Schmiegel and Vaughn would love nothing more than to hear the bones snapping as I type.
I report on these accidents. We post them on Schmiegel and Vaughn's website, right below lines about how many millions they have secured for their clients in the past. No heart, no romance.
But still, I write.
Oh, sure, they can secure millions for you. Grandma takes a spill at the home, they'll get you $1 million. Sure, but they don't understand the art of writing. So they need me to feed them clients. And they don't understand that my style of writing and this accident writer job is journalism.
$8 a blog, and I am out there finding stories, finding the latest horrific accident to report on for you, and this is what you're giving me? Well, I had to weigh my options. Hey, I was making my parents proud. I was working at a law firm. Oh, they didn't take me seriously, but they were going to. Everyone was going to take me seriously. But how do you make people take you seriously? How do you find success $8 at a time? Well, one night, the rain moved in. I remember it would have been the perfect night to work on a romance novel. I sort of tumbled into a nice, quaint little coffee shop, and I found me a nice little table in the corner. There was a artist playing on stage.
I was born in the tundra. Mama had me in an igloo. Daddy was an Eskimo. Mama met him at the zoo. I was pecking keywords into Google. Car accident, injury, Philadelphia, when a waitress had spilled over some dishes and fallen to the floor. She howled a little bit in pain, and my first thought was not, oh, is she okay? My first thought was, oh, I better report on this. I caught myself. What the? Am I really thinking this way now? Seeing human beings as objects? Seeing broken limbs as dollar signs? Am I really a lawyer, Mom and Dad? No, I'm a journalist. I report. But the suffering of others, the pain, the misfortune, broken bones, blood and guts, it's my bread and butter too. You can't take it away from me now. So I realized in that moment what it is I need to do. And so I created a plan. You see, I needed to make a name for myself in personal injury law. Funny to say as a romance writer, right? But this was how I would make my parents proud. The world of journalism. I could be a professional. I could do this the right way. And all they wanted to do was talk about me at parties anyway. Oh, Alex is taking up the family crest. So how do I make my name in personal injury law and journalism? I can't predict accidents. I can't be the first one at the scene. But in that coffee shop, I was the first on the scene. Granted, this was no high scale make my name injury case, a waitress tumbling down over herself, but what if the accidents were a little more serious in nature? What if they were stories people wanted to read about and I was the first one on the scene? I could make my name in both journalism and your precious personal injury law, Ma. Oh, I could do it just for you. Make my daddy proud. All I needed was a target. A news story. Some breaking news, if you will. As though it were a message from God, I immediately remembered my neighbor across the street. Elderly woman, she backs out of her driveway every morning like clockwork at 9:15. I know what you're thinking. Alex, this is a little close to home, isn't it? But we have to start somewhere. I slid underneath her car in the dead of night. You should have seen how slick I was, Dad. I snipped her brake line, an age-old trick. When she pulled out of her driveway the next morning, I made sure to follow behind her, just coincidentally going to the market. And it worked like magic. I followed behind her, and she entered a busy intersection. She actually had to turn her wheel sideways. A little old lady drifting into the intersection was sort of comical, but like magic, a cement truck came, took off the front end of her vehicle. I did not mean for her to die, but a wrongful death story is a hell of a case for Schmiegel and Vaughn. And I was the first one to report. I was the first one there, Mom and Dad. Aren't you proud of me? And guess what? It worked perfectly. Schmiegel and Vaughn, they secured the case because of the story that I wrote. I did it. I landed my first case, and I knew right away I could do it again. Do you need me to do it some more? You would be surprised how easy it is to make something look like an accident when no one sees you coming, when no one knows who you are. And it's a service. Everybody gets paid. I'm doing a service. I know I can't stay in one town. I'll travel around and help out and give my services to law firms across the country. Mom, Dad, I can be everywhere. I can be anywhere. Aren't you proud of me? Serving your precious personal injury law all across the country, helping you, helping lawyers all throughout the great United States of America. Aren't you proud of me, Mom and Dad? Aren't you proud?
Better keep a careful eye out for that fella. Never know where he might be lurking, doing his job. I believe that the characters introduced to you tonight taught us some lessons about trusting people we think we know, and being careful around strangers as well. Keep an eye out when you park at the supermarket. You never know who might have nefarious plans, particularly during the month of October that we continue to celebrate here on what is, yes, folks, this is the Bill Mullane Show. I'll stop pulling the wool over your eyes here and let you know, yeah, you are still tuned in to the Bill Mullane Show. I know I put it on pretty well there, leading you on to believe that the Bill was dead and the show is no longer. But that was what this is, and look, I hope you enjoyed this one. Episode 2 of a Brothers Macabre. Brothers Macabre Part 2, I'm calling it. It's got that nice
vintage horror feel to it. Part 2. You know, it just does. You know it does. You love it. And if you do, I would really appreciate it. I know everyone says like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, all that jazz, but it really does help out. And yeah, that would be appreciated. So if you dig what I've been doing here, dig how this episode came out, let me know. Feel free. And in the meantime, enjoy the next week. I will bring you 2 new tales, or maybe one longer one. We'll see. I need to get some other people involved too. I am and not just trying to do all the voices myself, but I will continue if I need to. My brother, the other half, should be joining. We are working on one story, but I'm not positive when it's coming together, so I'll keep you posted. Keep an eye out for the Bill Mullane Show blog. That'll discuss all of this. And yeah, see you next week.
DFL, bitch.